Hey everybody, Terry Battisti, Bass Fishing Archives, your sole source for bass fishing history. And what we got for you today is the 8th annual Bassmasters Classic Press Guide. Again, these things are quite rare. There was only a few hundred of them printed during the time. The reason being is not many people were showing up for the Classic. In this case, this one here was announced a week prior to the event. And so it really doesn't give people much time to drive hundreds, possibly thousands of miles to go witness the action. And so what we'll do is we'll go through the anglers that fished it. We'll look at some of the material in there that they presented. They have all the records for every single tournament that had happened up until this point. And we'll find out who won the Classic. If you remember, or you have the February '79 issue of Bassmaster magazine, you probably know who won it. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about the Bassmaster Classic patches that we covered a couple weeks ago. So let's head on over to the computer and we'll run through the magazine. All right, folks. What we got here is again, it's the 8th annual Bassmasters Classic 1978 press guide. And of course, here's the cover. Turn the page and we've got a contents page on the left there, and then the Bassmasters Classic, the test of the best against the best. And of course, he's got Dr. James A. Henshall's quote up at the top, the black bass, inch for inch and pound for pound, the gamest fish that swims. And down at the bottom, we got the trophy. And it looks like 2 pics of Rick Clunn from '76 and '77. So we'll turn the page, and essentially what they're doing is they're talking about the history of bass and Bassmaster tournaments and how Ray Scott got it all started. And then we have a foreword from Mr. Ray Scott himself talking about what BAS means and what he's done in order to bring it around. Then we have an introduction of Harold Sharp, the first BASS tournament director. Preceded Dewey Kendrick, helped Ray Scott write the rules of all BASS tournaments back in 1967-68 on a rainy day in Chattanooga, Tennessee, just down the road from where I live now. Harold's a great guy. He was a supporter of the Bass Fishing Archives back in the day when we started up, and we dearly miss him. Next page, what they're doing is they're going through all the classics, and they're starting off with Bassmaster Classic 1. If you remember, it was Bobby Murray that won that event on Lake Mead, and he did it in pretty stout fashion. And now we go to the next page. We have Bassmaster Classic 2, which was held on Piercy Priest, and Don Butler won that event. Beat Ricky Green out by quite a bit of weight. Ricky Green kind of turned him onto the pattern on this second day, maybe it was the night of the first day, and he went off and threw his little SOB spinnerbait and kicked everybody's butt. Next, we've got Classic 3, which was held on Clark's Hill, and that was Rayo Breckenridge that won that event. And then Bassmaster Classic 4 was held on Wheeler, and good old Tommy Martin won that event. And you see a picture of Tommy Ray and his wife down there on the middle of the right-hand page. Up in the upper left, you've got Harold Sharp and Roger Moore. Roger was leading that tournament after a couple of days, and Tommy ended up catching him. We got the intro to Bassmaster Classic 5, which was won by Jack Haynes on the Currituck Sound in North Carolina. Now, that's the second tournament, second Bassmaster Classic that was actually won on a Fleck bait, a Fleck spinnerbait. Bassmaster Classic 6, we've got at Gunnersville. And good old Rick Clunn catches 59 pounds, 15 ounces of fish, and wins his first Classic. And then we've got Bassmaster Classic 6, which happened in 1976, and we went over that one last week or the week before. And this event was held on Lake Toho. And here we got a picture of Rick Clunn and Larry Nixon looking to see who's going to win this. This was Nixon's first year fishing, and he goes out and nearly wins the Bassmaster Classic. Clunn beat him by about 1.5 pounds. And then the next pages, 24, 25, we've got the Bassmasters Classic boat. And here's Ray essentially pimping, trying to sell all these classic boats that Rangers provided for the classic contestants. And if you notice, this is the first year that they have a unit, a depth finder, on the front of the boat. Pretty much all years, well, not pretty much, every year prior to 1978, there was only one flasher on these boats, and it was on the console. So if you wanted to be up on the front of the boat knowing what depth was, you were going to have to figure out a way to turn that thing around so you could see it. Another couple of pages about the classic boat. And then turn the page and you see what the the classic boat had on it. So it was a 1750V, 17.5-foot Ranger with a 115 horse Johnson on the back, OMC instrument panel, action pack 105 amp trolling motor batteries, and stowaway outboard battery. I believe that one was for the cranking. You had an LFG 300D and an LFG 200, and the 200 was located on the bow, and the 300 was on the console, along with a Lowrance fishing temp. You had a quick stop kill switch, you had boat reins, you had 2 Plano tackle boxes now, so that makes me question, has the 10-pound limit been lifted? You have a 777, which was a drawer-type tackle box, and then an 1146, which was a double-sided tackle box. And Sansauchi Pro Fisherman life vests, Oscar ice boxes, and Silver Trail trailer. And then on the next page, we've got Bass computer records show average is about 3 bass per day for the Classic. And so essentially what they've done is they've done a bunch of data reduction here over the past 7 Classics that they've had, and they're giving those statistics nerds a bunch of stats to read, which is pretty cool. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the Classic contenders. Rick Clunn is number 1 because he was defending his Classic title, not just the 77 one, but he also, again, he won 2 years in a row, 76 and 77. And then you have the Angler of the Year, Roland Martin. Second place was Bobby Murray, Ricky Green, Gary Wade of Greensboro, North Carolina, Bo Dowden of Louisiana, Cliff Kraft, there's a name you haven't seen before, age 28, out of Georgia, Larry Nixon, Hemphill, Texas, finishes in 7th place for Angler of the Year this year. Then you got Hank Parker, and then Dave Glebe, Stockton, California, flipping genius, schooled under D. Thomas. You got Jerry Ryan of the Hungry Fisherman Trail, fished the Bassmaster Trail, and made a few classics. Harold Allen, Millen, Texas. David Owens, Arkansas. Bill Dance, Memphis, Tennessee. This is Dance's last year of fishing. He's going to retire in 1978 and concentrate on doing his TV show, Bill Dance Outdoors, while also, doing tackle design and repping primarily for Strike King and a lot of other companies out there. You got Woo Daves, Virginia. Randy Fight, which is Rick Clunn's cousin. Tom Mann. Paul Chamblee, North Carolina. Bill Ward, again, Amsterdam, Missouri. Glenn Crawford, Florida. Shorty Evans, Missouri. Jimmy Houston. And then Greg Ward. So this makes, I believe, the 3rd time that Greg and Bill Ward, father and son, have fished the Classic together. It was 75, 76, and 78 that they made the Classic together. At the upper left is Greg Ward. And then on the right, you have Tommy Martin, Hemphill, Texas. And then A.B. Battles. Battles made it through the Federation. And then we have James Thomas, which had the worst position for the Angler of the Year. He was the first guy out of not making it, but he was considered the alternate should someone else not be able to make it. And then in the middle of the book, what we got is all the tournament trail winners and records through the end of the regular season in 1978. It's a really, really cool bunch of data, and all this is going to end up, most of it's already up on the website under tournament winners and records, if you want to go up there. But in the next week or so, I will have all of this data up through 1978. Next would be Bassmaster's Classic all-time performances. So everybody to date that has made it to the Classic is on this table here. Kind of good to go back and look and see who in the early years made the Classic. And then we have the 1978 Tournament Trail at a glance. This is the top 25. Actually, the top 24, A.B. Battles, like I said, he made the Classic through the Federation. But the top 24 in the AOI standings, this gives you what they placed in every tournament for that regular year. And then we got some Tournament Trail records, all-time Bass Pro money leader. At that time, it was Roland Martin. He had $93,000 in winnings. Top single season money winner was Rick Clunn with almost 37,000. And I'll leave it to you to go through this on your own time so we don't take up too much time here. This will be posted on the Bass Fishing Archives website, bass-archives.com, if you want to go and leaf through all 105 pages of it. It's a pretty cool thing to look at. Below that, you got all-time Bassmasters Classic records, high winning total, low winning total, largest classic bass, etc. And this is again up to 1978. And they've even included the Fly Rod Series winners and records. They only did that for 1 year, so it's really difficult to find that information. You got the National Bassmaster Team Championships, which they held a few team tournaments over the years. They were not anything that had to do with the regular season, but they were just fun events like Bass Champs was. And then we have the all-time bass tournament records. So again, we've got Roland Martin with $93,000 in winnings, and second was Rick Clunn with 77. Now, the amazing thing about that statistic right there is Roland Martin has not won a Classic. Rick Clunn has won 2. And he's still, $15,000 more winnings with respect to Rick Clunn. That's a pretty stout number there. How the pros ranked in 71, 72, 73, essentially the Angler of the Year standings. 74, 75, 76 through 78. And then we got 78 leading 78 leading bass money winners. Roland Martin was first with 22.5. Dave Glebe was second with 18,000. Shorty Evans with 15 on down the line. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to get into who won what tournaments, for this year. And Glebe started the 78 season off at Toho by winning. Glebe was on a roll back in that time period, 77 and 78. He won 3 tournaments within 5 months, 3 tournaments within 5 weeks in 1977 on 3 different circuits. The guy was on fire. And he starts 1978 out the same way. Then we go to the St. John's, and what is this guy's name? Jack Wade. Excuse me, I know these things. You got Jack Wade wins the St. John's River, and he wins it with 33 pounds. That would be like a one-day weight this year. That's a pretty sad weight. And then now we're going to go to the Virginia Invitational, and we've got Hurley Board wins this event with 38 pounds, better than Toho, and he beats out Tom Mann by 34-12. Dave Glebe got third place in this event. The event was held on Gaston. And then we got Shorty Evans at Kentucky Lake, his home lake, and that's a couple of pigs that he's holding there. Of course, they look bigger than they probably are because Shorty's only 5 feet 5 inches tall. So, but he wore him out at Kentucky, weighed in 56 pounds 13 ounces. Then you got Roland, and he goes up to New York and wins the New York Invitational out of the St. Lawrence River. And he wins it with 59-13. Next to him's Gary Wade of North Carolina with 48-3. So, yeah, I'd say Dance walked away with it. Then the next tournament, we've got the Alabama Invitational at West Point, and Rick Klun's cousin, Randy Fight, wins that event with 69 pounds, 11 ounces, and beats out Tommy Mike of LaGrange, Georgia, by about 7 pounds. So we got the 79 Bassmaster Tournament trail that they're starting to talk about, and it's going to be a $475,000 trail, and they're just kind of going through and telling you what you guys can expect this next year. You got a picture of Harold Sharp and Bobby Murray looking on. And then we've got some more records. They got the schedule for the 79. They're going to start out again at St. Johns River. Then they're going to go to Lake Powell, where an angler by the name of Gary Klein is going to make his debut in a big way. You got the Virginia Invitational at Gaston, the Kentucky Invitational at Kentucky Lake, New York Invitational at the St. Lawrence River, the Arkansas Invitational at Millwood, and then the Bassmaster Classic Championship at Lake of the Woods, Sioux Narrow, Ontario, Canada. So this will be the first time that Bassmaster is going to go outside the country. And then, of course, you got the Classic that's going to be in September, and the site's going to be announced, and again, will be announced 1 week prior to the event. And let me correct something here real quick. Klein did not make his debut at the Arizona Invitational. He actually made his debut at the Florida Invitational, but his second tournament that he ever fished, he won. So that's kind of a good way to start off your career. And that's the end. So, all right, guys, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you the next time. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that. It's the last one that we're going to cover before next week's Classic. Next week, I head to the Classic on Wednesday. I will be there through Monday, and next Saturday, what we're going to do, and probably from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking to a lot of the anglers that are on the floor of the expo and on Media Day. And I'm going to put a bunch of videos up between Thursday and Sunday regarding the interviews that I do with the guys at that time. So look forward to next week. A bunch of content's going to go up on the old YouTube channel. And if you like the video today, please hit the like button. If you like the channel, please subscribe. Every subscriber helps us a tremendous amount. And until then, we'll see you next time. See you at the Classic.